ExamPrep.School. Indiana Insurance Navigator Exam. There are 5 practice exams in this series. This video covers Practice Exam 1. The first 20 questions are free. In this video, we will be covering the following major categories for Practice Exam 1. Consumer Assistance Basics, Health Insurance Basics, and the Federal Marketplace. Indiana Health Coverage Programs. Let's walk through the format. I'll read each question and its choices. Let's get started. Question 1. Under the Affordable Care Act, Marketplace Assistance Programs, which entity is officially designated as a federally designated consumer assister? A. An independent insurance agent licensed by the state. B. A federally funded organization providing no-cost enrollment assistance. C. A certified broker contracted by private insurers. D. A volunteer from a nonprofit offering general health education. A countdown circle appears in the top right. Once it completes, the answer is revealed. You can pause at any time if you'd like longer to think. If you'd like additional practice covering more topics, see the description for our book. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is a federally funded organization authorized to provide enrollment assistance free of charge under ACA regulations. Reason A is not correct. State licensed agents operate independently and may earn commissions, so they are not federally designated assisters. Reason C is not correct. Certified brokers contract with insurers and may receive compensation, unlike federally designated assisters. Reason D is not correct. Nonprofit volunteers may educate on health topics but lack federal designation to assist with marketplace enrollment. Question 2. Which of the following activities is explicitly prohibited for non-licensed consumer assisters under the ACA Marketplace Assistance Rules? A. Providing unbiased comparisons of plan benefit structures. B. Assisting consumers with eligibility determination. C. Accepting referral fees or commissions from insurers. D. Helping applicants complete enrollment forms. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is that non-licensed assisters may not accept any referral fees or insurance commissions under ACA guidelines. Reason A is not correct. Offering plan comparisons is a permitted activity to help consumers evaluate options. Reason B is not correct. Helping determine eligibility is within the assister's authorized scope. Reason D is not correct. Assisting with enrollment paperwork is allowed under Marketplace Assister standards. Question 3. Federal conflict of interest guidelines for consumer assisters require disclosure of which relationship? A. Professional affiliations with unrelated health advocacy groups. B. Any financial ties or compensation arrangements with insurers. C. Personal health conditions that consumers may share. D. Preferred referral of consumers to low-cost clinics. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is that assisters must disclose any financial relationships or compensation agreements with insurers to avoid conflicts. Reason A is not correct. Affiliations with neutral advocacy groups do not create financial conflicts requiring disclosure. Reason C is not correct. Personal health conditions have no bearing on organizational conflicts of interest. Reason D is not correct. Referral preferences for clinics are not classified as financial conflicts under assister rules. Question 4. You are a federally designated consumer assister meeting with a client who requires frequent specialist visits. 2 plans are available. Plan A has a higher premium, lower out-of-pocket costs, and a broad provider network. Plan B has a lower premium, higher cost sharing, and a narrower network. An insurer representative informs you that enrolling this client in Plan B would yield you a 15% higher payment than enrolling in Plan A. The client asks which plan you recommend. Which of the following actions would violate the prohibition on recommending a specific health plan based on compensation? A. Outline the differences in network size, premium, and cost sharing for both plans, and suggest the client choose based on their health needs. B. Disclose the compensation differential to the client and allow them to decide without making a direct recommendation. C. Recommend enrolling in Plan B, citing its lower monthly premium and narrower network. D. Recommend enrolling in Plan B and mention that you will receive a higher payment if the client chooses it. The correct answer is D. Recommending a specific health plan because it yields higher compensation violates federally designated consumer assister standards that prohibit compensation-based recommendations. Reason A is not correct. Providing balanced information and letting the client choose based on needs does not involve recommending a plan for compensation and is compliant. Reason B is not correct. Disclosing the compensation differential without recommending a plan does not constitute a compensation-based recommendation and is allowed. Reason C is not correct. Recommending based on plan features like premium and network aligns with client needs rather than compensation and does not violate the prohibition. Question 5. Which of the following topics is specifically required in the Indiana-specific portion of pre-certification education for navigators? A. Risk adjustment methodology for issuers. B. Issuer financial reporting requirements. C. Group health plan underwriting principles. D. HIPAA privacy and security rules. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is HIPAA privacy and security rules, which are explicitly mandated in Indiana's Navigator pre-certification curriculum to ensure proper handling of consumer health information. Reason A is not correct. Risk adjustment methodology is technical issuer content and not included in Navigator training requirements. Reason B is not correct. Issuer financial reporting requirements are not covered in the Medicaid or Marketplace Consumer Assistance curriculum. Reason C is not correct. Underwriting principles are not part of the Navigator's pre-certification education, as navigators do not underwrite health plans. Question 6. Which activity is permitted for licensed producers in Indiana but is expressly prohibited for navigators when assisting consumers with health coverage? A. Assisting with eligibility determinations. B. Explaining differences in plan metal levels. C. Accepting compensation from issuers for plan enrollments. D. Providing general marketplace enrollment support. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is accepting compensation from issuers for plan enrollments, which licensed producers may do, whereas navigators must remain unbiased and cannot receive any payment from insurance companies. Reason A is not correct. Assisting with eligibility determinations is a core navigator function, so it is allowed. Reason B is not correct. Explaining metal levels is within a navigator's permissible scope and does not equate to selling or compensation. Reason D is not correct. Providing marketplace enrollment support is part of the navigator role and is permitted. Question 7. When assisting consumers with limited decision-making capacity, which professional conduct expectation must Indiana navigators follow? A. Make enrollment decisions on behalf of the consumer. B. Offer financial incentives to secure enrollment. C. Provide interpreter services and use plain language explanations. D. Advocate for a specific issue based on consumer demographics. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is providing interpreter services and using plain language explanations, ensuring vulnerable consumers fully understand their options without coercion or bias. Reason A is not correct. Making decisions on behalf of the consumer exceeds the navigator's role and breaches informed consent principles. Reason B is not correct. Offering financial incentives compromises neutrality and is prohibited. Reason D is not correct. Advocating for one issuer over another violates unbiased assistance standards. Question 8. Under Indiana-specific confidentiality practices, which of the following actions must navigators take when handling consumer medical and financial information? A. Transmit unsecured data via standard email. B. Store all physical documents in unlocked filing cabinets. C. Encrypt electronic records containing personal data. D. Share consumer information with third parties without consent. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is encrypting electronic records containing personal data, which is required under Indiana confidentiality rules to protect sensitive consumer information. Reason A is not correct. Unsecured email transmission violates confidentiality requirements. Reason B is not correct. Unlocked storage of physical documents fails to safeguard consumer data. Reason D is not correct. Sharing information without consumer consent breaches privacy regulations. Question 9. Before accessing a consumer's marketplace account on their behalf, what form of consent must an Indiana Navigator obtain? A. Implied consent from previous interactions. B. Verbal approval recorded on a phone call. C. Documented written authorization from the consumer. D. Consent from a family member without consumer presence. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is documented written authorization from the consumer, which is required under Indiana and CMS guidelines before any account access occurs. Reason A is not correct. Consent cannot be implied, it must be explicit and documented. Reason B is not correct. Verbal approval alone does not satisfy written consent requirements. Reason D is not correct. A family member's consent without the consumer present is not acceptable. Question 10. When neutrally explaining metal tiers to an Indiana consumer, which characteristic accurately distinguishes the different levels? A. Variations in built-in wellness program access. B. Differences in provider network accreditation status. C. Variations in issuer market share rankings. D. Differences in actuarial value and cost-sharing percentages. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is differences in actuarial value and cost-sharing percentages, which is the fundamental basis for distinguishing metal tiers without steering toward a specific issuer. Reason A is not correct. Wellness program access is not a defining characteristic of metal tiers. Reason B is not correct. Provider network accreditation status does not distinguish metal tiers. Reason C is not correct. Issuer market share is unrelated to metal tier definitions. Question 11. A marketplace application assister is guiding a first-time applicant through healthcare.gov account creation on a public computer. The applicant has no email address and requests the assister set up and memorize their login credentials. Which action complies with assister standards? A. Ask the applicant to create a personal email account, then have them choose and enter their own password without the assister recording it. B. Use a generic email for the applicant, create its password yourself, and share both credentials. C. Create the account using the assister's email, then delete the assister's password from your records after enrollment. D. Recommend the applicant schedule a call with the federal call center to establish an email address. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is to ensure the consumer owns and controls their personal credentials, maintain privacy, and comply with assister role limits by not recording or retaining passwords. Reason B is not correct. Creating and sharing generic credentials breaches privacy standards and consumer ownership requirements. Reason C is not correct. Using the assister's email violates role boundaries and consumer control over account access. Reason D is not correct. Referring to the call center is unnecessary since the assister can facilitate personal account creation directly. Question 12. A consumer returns to the assister's office after forgetting healthcare.gov login credentials. Using the built-in marketplace application assister functionality, what is the assister's next best practice? A. Walk the consumer through the password reset workflow by sending a reset link to their registered email address. B. Ask the consumer for their forgotten password and re-enter it in the system. C. Log the consumer in using the assister's credentials, then transfer account control to the consumer. D. Offer to store the consumer's new password securely for future logins. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is to guide the consumer through the self-service password reset process to maintain security, consumer control, and compliance with assister role restrictions. Reason B is not correct. Requesting the forgotten password breaches policy against retaining consumer credentials. Reason C is not correct. Logging in with assister credentials violates security protocols and role boundaries. Reason D is not correct. Storing the new password gives the assister improper ongoing access, which is prohibited. Question 13. A consumer who previously applied for Medicaid through the marketplace contacts a navigator about why benefit payments haven't begun and how benefit amounts were calculated. What should the navigator do? A. Refer the consumer to their state Medicaid caseworker for detailed payment status and benefit determinations. B. Explain the enrollee's coverage options and offer to start a new Medicaid application. C. Calculate the estimated benefit amount based on income and provide a payment timeline. D. Direct the consumer back to the marketplace website to check their application status under the enrollment dashboard. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is to refer the consumer to the state Medicaid caseworker, who has authority and access to payment schedules and benefit calculations beyond the navigator's scope. Reason B is not correct. Starting a new application or explaining coverage options does not address payment status questions. Reason C is not correct. Benefit calculations and payment timelines are managed by Medicaid caseworkers, not navigators. Reason D is not correct. The marketplace dashboard does not provide Medicaid payment status or detailed benefit determinations. Question 14. Which activity is within the scope of a navigator application organization's responsibilities in Indiana? A. Assisting consumers with eligibility determinations and enrollment in qualified health plans at no cost. B. Collecting insurance premiums on behalf of health carriers. C. Providing personalized financial advice on plan affordability strategies. D. Issuing benefit payments directly to enrolled members. The correct answer is A. The core role of a federally designated navigator application organization is to offer unbiased eligibility and enrollment assistance without charge. Collecting premiums, giving financial advice, or issuing payments are outside its authority. Reason B is not correct. Collecting premiums is a carrier function, not a navigator responsibility. Reason C is not correct. Providing personalized financial advice exceeds the neutral informational role defined for navigators. Reason D is not correct. Issuing benefit payments is a payer activity, not within navigator duties. Question 15. According to Indiana Navigator program requirements, an application organization must maintain which of the following written policies and procedures? A. A conflict of interest policy prohibiting staff relationships that could compromise impartiality. B. Underwriting guidelines specifying eligibility and risk assessment criteria. C. Standard operating procedures for clinical treatment plans. D. Claims adjudication protocols for insurance reimbursements. The correct answer is A. Navigator application organizations are required to have a formal conflict of interest policy to ensure neutrality. Underwriting, clinical treatment, and claims processes are functions of carriers or providers, not navigators. Reason B is not correct. Underwriting guidelines are managed by insurers, not navigator organizations. Reason C is not correct. Clinical treatment procedures fall within provider scope, not navigator policy requirements. Reason D is not correct. Claims adjudication is a payer responsibility and not required for navigators. Question 16. Which of the following is required documentation for staff onboarding under Indiana Navigator Application Organization Guidelines? A. Records of each assister's completion of privacy and security training sessions. B. Logs of premium payments collected during each enrollment session. C. Copies of state insurance license renewals for non-licensed navigators. D. Records of consumer grievance resolutions and follow-ups. The correct answer is A. Navigator organizations must document that assisters complete required privacy and security training. Payment logs, license renewals for unlicensed staff, and grievance records are not part of onboarding documentation. Reason B is not correct. Payment logs are irrelevant to staff training records. Reason C is not correct. Non-licensed navigators do not require state insurance licenses. Reason D is not correct. Grievance records pertain to post-enrollment consumer issues, not onboarding. Question 17. Under Indiana Navigator, program quality assurance requirements, application organizations must implement which of the following review processes? A. Periodic audits of a representative sample of assister case files to verify compliance. B. Review of every consumer interaction recording before enrollment can be finalized. C. Audits solely triggered by consumer complaint submissions. D. Delegation of all quality review activities to state regulatory agencies. The correct answer is A. Navigator organizations are expected to conduct routine sampling audits of assister case files to ensure ongoing compliance. Reviewing every interaction, limiting reviews only to complaints, or outsourcing entirely are not acceptable under program standards. Reason B is not correct. Reviewing every interaction exceeds program requirements and is not mandated. Reason C is not correct. Limiting audits to complaint-driven cases fails to proactively monitor quality. Reason D is not correct. Quality reviews must be conducted internally, not fully delegated to regulators. Question 18. A certified Indiana consumer assister has just completed enrollment sessions for 10 applicants. To comply with federally mandated record-keeping standards for assisted applications and consumer consent, which practice must the assister follow? A. Retain only digital application records in a secure database, discarding paper originals immediately. B. Destroy physical consent forms after confirming enrollment if digital copies exist. C. Retain signed consumer consent forms and full assisted application records for at least 6 years from the enrollment date. D. Keep summary notes of the enrollment session instead of complete application documentation. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is to keep all signed consent forms and complete application records for a minimum of 6 years, as required by federal consumer assister retention rules. Reason A is not correct. Discarding paper originals is non-compliant, since both physical and digital records must be preserved. Reason B is not correct. Destroying physical forms prematurely violates the requirement to maintain records for the full 6-year retention period. Reason D is not correct. Summary notes alone do not satisfy the mandate to keep complete application and consent documentation. Question 19. During a marketplace application session at a community outreach event, a navigator steps away briefly, leaving the workstation accessible. According to internal control standards to prevent unauthorized access to consumer marketplace accounts, which practice best addresses this risk? A. Share a single team login protected by a complex password that is rotated monthly. B. Configure unique assister accounts with multi-factor authentication and automatic logout after 10 minutes of inactivity. C. Store login credentials on a password-protected spreadsheet accessible to all navigators. D. Rely solely on privacy screens to prevent bystanders from viewing the monitor. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is to use individual user accounts with multi-factor authentication and session timeouts, ensuring only authorized access and automatic logout when idle. Reason A is not correct. Sharing a team login undermines accountability and violates unique user authentication requirements. Reason C is not correct. Storing credentials in a shared spreadsheet risks unauthorized retrieval and is not a secure control. Reason D is not correct. Privacy screens alone do not secure the account if an authenticated session remains open. Question 20. Under Indiana regulations, what measure can the Indiana Department of Insurance use to sanction a navigator who violates consumer steering prohibitions? A. Revocation of health insurance agent license. B. Referral of the navigator to federal consumer protection agencies. C. Imposition of administrative civil penalties. D. Initiation of Medicaid eligibility reviews by FSSA. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is the imposition of administrative civil penalties, because state law authorizes the Department of Insurance to levy fines and penalties for navigator misconduct and non-steering violations. Reason A is not correct. Navigators are not licensed insurance agents under state law, so there is no agent license to revoke. Reason B is not correct. DOI does not refer navigators to federal agencies for sanctions. It uses state administrative enforcement processes. Reason D is not correct. Medicaid eligibility reviews are conducted by FSSA, not the Department of Insurance. Enjoyed this practice test? Tap like, hit subscribe, and share it with a classmate. Got a question we should tweak? Comment below, we read them all. Find full practice exam books in the description or at ExamPrep.School.